I remember a couple of weeks ago, I had spent about 2.5, maybe 3 hours playing a video game of racing cars, like racing through the streets or whatever.
Yeah.
And I get in my wife's car and I go to leave this neighborhood, and like in my mind, because I just got off that game, I'm literally dodging trash cans and taking turns way too fast. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not in the video game. And I'm 53 years old, almost 53 years old.
Wow.
And I think because I had to reset myself. I'm like, okay. I'm in a real car where real accidents could happen and real mistakes could be made here.
Right.
And this thing where you don't get a restart or a regen. And Ooh. I know, kids that spend time on these violent video games, and
we're not blaming video games.
No.
But we're saying it definitely creates.
No, I don't blame a video game no more than
of behavior.
I don't blame the video game no more than I blame the gun that kills somebody. I blame the hearts of the wicked and those that are under the influence of demonic spirits because of that. Okay. Because there is a world that we can't see that is after our children.
So as Christians, that's what we believe the Scripture talks about.
Yes.
That there are real powers and principalities and rulers in high places.
Yes.
And that this battle is not against flesh and blood, although oftentimes we see in the physical the flesh and the blood. Right? Exactly. We see people's flesh. We see actual humans in our physical life. But Scripture says that this is also spiritual. And I think you make a great point with that. And then also not just video games. And so once again, we're not just knocking video games, but we're just saying, just be open to think about if you're constantly taking in violence and killing and murder and music and whatever.
And horror movies.
And horror movies. And I know I'm not knocking, once again, there are people who can watch a horror movie and have no desire to do that stuff.
But not everybody has a strong mind either.
That's true.
That can block those things. Some people will turn a movie character like a Michael Myers or a Jason or a vigilante in a movie. They'll turn that into an idol for them. They're like, I want to be like this guy. I mean, when you see them dressing up at Comic-Con to be all these characters, and they'll even have play dates where they play with grown people, these crazy things. And but I'm not trying to say that Comic-Con's bad,
or anything
but
like that,
when you have a weak-minded person or somebody who is easily influenced, or maybe
they want
they're
to
on
live
drugs,
that. They
because
may want to live that
a lot of these kids these days, they take drugs to try to calm them down. Well, that also weakens a lot of their resolve and inhibition to say no to things. And these drugs can, even though they're over prescription and they're legal.
They're mind altering.
They're mind altering, and they allow things in that don't need to be there. And if you're not a parent that's watching over your child close enough, male or female, because everybody plays video games these days,
and directing them in the way they should go,
you have to be, as a parent. I used to say, you got to let them experience a little bit of this world to try to get them used to it so they'll be ready for the world. Well, that was wrong. That was a stupid thing for me to say, because what I really should have done was get rid of all those violent video games, get rid of all of these horror movies and these things that they shouldn't have been doing, because granted, 2 of my kids had a tendency to play video games all night long. They just thought these things were the greatest thing in the world.
So maybe there just need to be some barriers.
There has to be.
Or some boundaries. Boundaries is a better
boundaries,
word than barriers.
Time limits on these things.
Time limits and even
know what your kids are doing.
Because the rating on the games.
Just because you didn't buy them a game don't mean they didn't get it from school.
Ooh, come on.
Because they get video games shared with them. They get them on their phone nowadays. Yeah. So they can play, violent video games.
So we talked about video games. We've talked about, music, or I only said music
I didn't even think about music, but that's true
music
too.
Can be violent and encourage pretty crazy behavior and try to normalize violent or criminal-like behavior. But then also there's these Reddits and Discord and these like kind of black holes on the web that people can get down. And what happens is they become isolated and they become, in a way, for a lack of better word, indoctrinated by what they're reading. And the same thing could happen to us, right? I can go down the rabbit hole of all these conspiracy theories, and all of a sudden I'm going, all these people are conspiring against us, and they're all after us. And then all of a sudden you start looking at everyday people as the enemy.
Yeah.
instead of maybe, possibly, I'm diving way too deep into this. And I'm not saying that there probably aren't some conspiracy theories that are true, but at times, without all of the evidence, without everything presented before us, when you're rushing to conclusions the moment something happens, when you're trying to immediately pin it on a certain people group, or you're trying to immediately say, oh, a school had this happen and that had to be a white guy, or that was whatever, right? Like, the moment you're trying to look for the scapegoat of whoever the normal person would be to do that, you should probably have a heart check that says, man, there's something not right in me, that I'm almost wanting it to be these people. Yeah. So that I can further my argument or whatever. The fact is, I don't want it to be any people. I'm tired of hearing those news things. And so I want to bring up just a few recent examples. So, and what we're talking about children facing violence right now, but this is all kind of on the heels of what happened last Wednesday. So last Tuesday night, we did a podcast episode that was great, where we were talking about serving your spouse and really like not doing whatever to make you happy, but trying to live your life for other people. And that's where you really, truly find life. And that was last week's episode. And then Wednesday, all heck broke loose. Yeah. I woke up from a nap in the afternoon to the news of Charlie Kirk being assassinated, essentially, at that college campus. And then in the very next breath, there's a school shooting that happened. And I'm just reeling at this point, because I am upset about both. Yeah. I'm fired up about both. I just posted about one thing, and then to find out there's something else, and I'm like, I just don't have the mental capacity right now because I was also thinking about what had happened in North Carolina.
Yes.